Hey everyone, it's Darby.
Hey everyone, it's Psycrow. You might also know me as BTG Rocks, JOCR2, or whatever else people come up with, but I've taken over Darby's awesome channel today to help clarify how I use my glitches, considering that the website I made only explains things through text, and most of Darby's tutorials for my glitches have become obsolete since the 1.45 patch. Unfortunately, I can't record the Wii U myself, but I will be drawing from his tutorials for video clips today, as well as using my own screenshots to fill the gaps, and showing snippets of prior levels where the uses for these glitches have been showcased. So whether you're a hardcore glitcher like me who doesn't mind the risks involved, or you're just curious how everything's done, this video is going to cram in as much information as I can without it being overly long. With that being the case, if you're trying to follow along yourself, you'll probably need to pause and rewind now and then. Ready? Let's-a go! In Mario's Magic Show, I was able to bring back old patch glitches such as an old floating cannon glitch, a donut block teleportation glitch, a track momentum glitch, a hammer momentum glitch, and an anti-gravity glitch. To do this, and also to use any of the later glitches in this video which I came up with myself, assuming you don't already have any glitched items from before the 1.45 patch, you're going to need a freshly formatted Wii U, or else one that's never been online with Mario Maker. With the disc version of Mario Maker, staying offline with Mario Maker allows you to create levels using 1.0 physics, and upload them with those same physics as long as you haven't changed anything before you go online to patch and upload. You'll lose locally saved content when you format, but your uploads and username will still be there, and you can speed up the unlocking of course elements in Mario Maker by setting your system data ahead one day between each unlock. Also note that with one additional Wii U and the system transfer option, you can free yourself from a console ban an unlimited number of times, should worse come to worse like it did with my first account.
This ban actually was put in place directly from Japan, and it's not something that we would even be able to lift.
Besides bans, there are a couple less severe consequences possible. Automatic level removals happen within 30 minutes by the system, have happened to me hundreds of times while finding out which items were unstable, and this type of removal doesn't actually seem to notify anyone at Nintendo. You can upload again after fixing it if you've changed the name in CoreSpot first, for example by changing one letter and changing it back, so that the game won't actually know which level was uploaded and removed before. I'll explain how to avoid unstable items and being detected by the system within individual sections of this video. Manual removals are when Nintendo actually finds you and remove things manually, whether it be just one level or all your levels and stars. As far as I know, you'll only get a ban if you keep doing it again afterwards like I do. Of course, it's worth it for me because I can always come back, and Darby's showcases keep my level preserved in video form no matter what happens, but the risks you take will have to be your own decision to make. With all that said, if you're still interested in knowing, now we can really look at my glitches and how they're done. In various levels I've used falling blocks, stacked enemies on tracks, sloped enemies, and other uses for making items think they're on a track even when they're not. I've also glitched out ground, stacked arrows, tracks, and doors, made invisible tracks, hid doors underground for a warping effect, hid conveyor belts underground, and stacked other things you normally can't. These are possible through the Game Genie technique, which allows an item to think it's on a track and opens up the possibility for all other glitches, as well as the black hole technique, which allows you to layer things over each other, which would normally replace each other. First, we'll start with the old Game Genie technique. Make a diagonal track in 1.0, put a lava bubble on it, shake it, put a mushroom on it, and hit undo twice. Now put an item on it, hit play, and hit edit. Move out the track and select the area, and you can see that your item thinks it's on a track. To stabilize it and avoid auto removal of your level, don't keep the original, but use copies instead and delete everything else. This item will think it's on a track, as well as be layerable, allowing for things like falling blocks and layered items on tracks. A big twomp that thinks it's on a track can easily make a black hole. All you have to do is copy it onto itself 35 times. You can place ground under it to glitch it out, where the glitch tiles will depend on whether or not ground surrounds it. You can layer things like doors and conveyor belts under that ground to hide them in the ground, or just layer things like arrows and fire bars for other cool looking effects. And spamming a track onto itself hundreds of times can make other tracks on the screen invisible. Having said this much, there are some known quirks to these glitches to watch out for. I won't be going over all these out loud, but for anyone actually looking to use these glitches, I suggest pausing the video here to read them over. I did warn you that pauses and rewinds would be necessary if you're actually going to use these, right? Of course, for anyone really looking to get the hang of these glitches, I imagine you'll be needing to go over this video more than once anyway. Now we can finally get to the new Game Genie technique. I suggest making a big thwomp that thinks it's on a track, and starting with that item by making a copy of the save file when you make all future levels in 1.45, although if you have other big glitched items you can make a big enough black hole by using them side by side as well. But here's how it's done. Go to the upper right of your level and make an X with tracks through the black hole technique. Move the thwomps off the X and put your desired item there. Hit play and edit, then select the area, and drag the item down and to the left by a screen or two. Go to the subworld and back up. Move your item over one tile, go to the upper right again where the X is, and don't touch anything there, but just hit undo. It will undo when you move the cannon over and take you back to it. Now go back to the upper right again, and this time select the area on the X. Then drag it to your item which thinks it's on a track. With the X and the item on it still selected, delete it all at once so that the only item left is the one that thinks it's on a track. This is the new Game Genie technique, and all glitches later in the video start with these steps, so feel free to review this part of the video as needed. Once you've used the new Game Genie technique I described in the last section on your item of choice, just put down whatever you want to put it in, let's say a pipe in this case, put any item in it, such as a lava bubble, copy the pipe that has the lava bubble in it, pull out the copied lava bubble, hit undo, move over the pipe that now has your glitched item in it so you can see it, pull it out along with the lava bubble that's in a pipe too, and hit undo twice. Now you can drag everything other than your glitched item off the screen to delete it. It will spawn from midair if you hit play, and you can copy it as desired as well. Just make sure you only use a copy and delete the original unless you're using it for more steps afterwards. The steps are exactly the same no matter what you put it in, or if you're putting it in more than one thing. Just keep following those same few steps I just mentioned with whatever you want to put it in, and it will be in those. For example, if you wanted that chain chomp to spawn in a clown car too, you'd follow those same steps right after, but with clown cars instead of pipes. Munchers and invisible pipes were a main feature of the first level I used invisible pipes in, and were used as things like platforms too. Here I've got a Koopa laying eggs that think they're in pipes, although it doesn't end well for them. This bomb thinks it's in a sideways pipe and appears to walk on air, then walks backwards on a conveyor belt under the ground. A good way to do slow motion is to have a bunch of cows that think they're in pipes spawn out, along with some stars layered through the black hole glitch, and then cram them up in the same square with a moving platform. Here I have a flying cow that thinks it's in a pipe and a clown car, along with flying coins which also think they're in both. The coins for some reason spawn 10 clown cars instead of coins each time, helping push down the POW's clown car, making the POW itself invisible when the car is out of range, but Mario can still float on it. Springs and P-switches also act a little strangely when they think they're in a pipe and a clown car, warping back when you let them go, for example. Items that are in pipes and clouds just tend to wear the cloud without making them float. This is a Magic Koopa in a cloud that's stacked, and this is a Magic Koopa in a pipe and a clown car that doesn't have room to spawn. When dying, he'll just spin around in his clown car instead. This is a Sledge Bro that thinks it's in a sideways pipe and clown car. He wakes up eventually, but doesn't throw anything. This is a big piranha plant that thinks it's in an upside down pipe and clown car, with the clown car being forced under the blocks, and the plant being unable to spawn from its invisible pipe. These lit bombs that think they're in pipes and cars will keep spawning clown cars infinitely, since the game is only counting how many bombs are on screen, and not the clown cars that come with them. If you get something in a sideways pipe and then a clown car, but then pull it out of the clown car before completing the steps, it will straighten out when you hit play, but align differently. One possible use for this is with burners, which can allow for a strange sliding effect for Bowser Jr. Burners, fire bars, bumpers, and grinders in clown cars are the only ones I know of that can catch on tracks when they think they're in a clown car, which can help create some cool effects, including teleportation, which I'll cover in the next section. In teleportation experimentation, I had Mario teleport in a number of different ways. Bombs teleporting through things like bill blasters to blow up a wall, a shell thrown at a Goomba to hit a vine block up higher, and a boss battle against a firebar pinwheel. In later levels I had other boss battles that you might say were even crazier, taking many hits and making sounds until they give you a key, or using special attacks. And I also had the ability to walk on lava to throw fireballs at a Yoshi egg until it was cooked too. Teleportation is very hard to master, but it's done through burners or fire bars that think they're in clown cars. This was a setup Darby used in his tutorial. When hitting play, Mario will eventually teleport beyond the one-way platforms. The track doesn't need to go up and around like this, but notice that the track and the clown car end up along the same line as they start. This is important in order to keep the teleport working. Sometimes keeping the car bouncing around, for example by walling it in with another clown car, can help too. You'll need to do a bunch of testing in order to make sure it's reliable. Mario can teleport up or down just as easily, and this was a setup Darby showed for teleporting down. The burners are overlaid with question mark blocks here, and the fire can't hurt Mario here since the burner's hitbox stays invisibly with the clown car. Note that the burners and fire bars would also be invisible if the car were far enough off screen, and even an invisible burner or fire bar can move things around. If you set it up just right, especially with a fire bar instead of a burner, you can make the clown car start off screen and get pushed away by something like a bill blaster soon enough that the fire bar is always invisible for the player, and if you layered something else like a spring on it, then only that would be visible. This kind of setup takes a lot of thought, planning, and testing, sometimes even keeping the player busy for a while it sets up. Another kind of teleport is simply layering tracks like this through the black hole technique. Note that the top one needs to be visibly layered on top, and if it ever messes up its own layering, just extend one of the tracks out by one and hit undo to fix it, just like you would with invisible tracks. But when an item on a track goes up like this, it'll be warped to the bottom left of the screen, taking anything else with it. Or more importantly, you can use this with moving platforms to get them to catch on a track you've laid under the lava in a castle level, and it'll follow along just below the track to make the platforms invisible. In fact, most enemies will even die on it, but Mario and a few others like Drybones won't. I'd suggest walling Mario in with something like bill blasters on tracks so that the player won't go beyond where the moving platforms are. Note that when cooking Yoshi, I actually had Bowser and the clown car associated with this burner up higher and moving directly above the egg at the same time, so the fireballs would teleport to them and register the hits. The Wiggler boss fight I showed earlier uses both kinds of teleports. Right here is a thinks it's in a clown car burner, which stays moving along the track to make the Wiggler appear to breathe fire, although the clown car itself gets pushed in there with Bowser where it needs to be. When you fire using charged shots from your clown car on the right side, if you miss the Wiggler it'll just hit this bill blaster and do nothing, but if you hit it, or rather hit the burner, your shot teleports to where Bowser is. Bowser has a key and makes an ow sound, so accurate shots result in that sound and eventually giving you that key. Also, I'm using the track teleportation I just showed to make the Wiggler warp back to the beginning of the track over and over to make it even a little sillier, although the tracks are invisible in the actual level. In Batman vs. Joker and Clayface, I first showed mini clown cars which can chase you around, and in Betrayed Peach Joins Bowser, I first showed giant ones as well as a giant cloud. I'm sure you've also noticed the cloudless Lakitus in this video, if not the original showcases, and there's also a level where I had an enemy on a track give you a key, which is normally impossible for some reason. I'll be covering these loose ends here in this section. For the tiny evil clown car, after using the Game Genie technique on one, place down another clown car, put an item in it, copy over the clown car with the item, pull out the copied item, and hit undo. Put wings on the original clown car, although you won't see them. Put down a pipe, copy the original clown car out into the pipe, and drag down to remove everything else. Pull it out and it'll chase you around, put it in a bill blaster and it'll come out tiny. For giant clouds or clown cars, just follow the usual steps to get Big Bowser to think he's in one. Once he first shows up in that state, move him over, and pull out the two remaining items in clouds or clown cars. Hit undo twice, and now dragging out the big cloud or clown car shows you it's empty. You'll still need to shake it out, and copy it out into a pipe, and then drag down to remove everything else and you can pull it out. For Cloudless Lakitu, after using the new Game Genie technique with any item, place down a track, place down a Lakitu, and with your next move, shake it and put it on the track all at once. Copy that over, take off the copied cloud, and hit undo 3 times. Now if you move the cloud down, it's got the glitched item in it instead, and you can drag down to remove everything else. You'll then need to put down a car with something in it, copy that over, pull out the copy, hit undo, and pull Lakitu out of that car. Finally, for giving a key to an item on a track, start off of course with that new Game Genie technique, put down a clown car, put something in it, copy it over, pull out the copy, and hit undo. Now just give a key to your thinks it's on a track item and drag it to a place where red squares appear indicating you can't put it there, then let go. It'll still go there, and once you look at it you can see it's got the key marker with the arrow one under it as well, so it can move along a track. Well, thanks for watching everyone. This was a fun little tutorial / clip show, and I really mean it when I say I appreciate everyone's support. I wouldn't still be doing glitch experiments if not for that. Don't forget about the glitch side, especially since this video goes so fast. I would do like Darby does for me and say to hashtag Darby in the comments, but we don't want his name getting messed up. And you do just as well to like, comment, and subscribe, since this is his channel after all. Plus, any future showcases of my levels will be here, so you don't want to miss that. Thanks so much to Darby, who's done so much to record all this over time and help show what's possible in a game that's otherwise been without any new features. And thanks again to all of you for watching.